Afghanistan will hold another presidential elections. But will the new government be able to re-establish the peace and security? Will Taliban accept the new government? A few unanswered questions from last 17 years of one of the longest running conflicts in the world. Decades of war and unrest in Afghanistan. The longest war in the history of United States. Constant bombardments, suicide attacks, military retaliations. And in between, several thousand Afghan civilians being brutally killed. Why US couldn't resolve the issue. Why Afghanistan is so reliant on foreign powers. What is Taliban's hidden agenda? What's next in this war? We will explore these questions here at Mystery and Politics.
The 2019 presidential elections are just around the corner in Afghanistan, and political leaders are campaigning aggressively. 18 candidates have filed their candidature, but the list is expected to grow shorter after the election office completes their voting process on March the 26th. Will these elections be held peacefully? The doubts are higher after the failed and violent parliamentary elections led to several weeks of tensions in the nation. And behind all this, Taliban. The Taliban threatens and controls large parts of Afghanistan, and ISIS-linked groups have emerged and gained ground, and civilian deaths are on a constant rise. The conflict of Afghanistan started when Taliban emerged in the late 20th century. Taliban opposed westernization of Afghanistan, and the rebelled against the government situation has ever since worsened. But when did this issue become important? When did Afghanistan conflict become a world issue?
Buildings down. We'll hear all of us soon.
On my orders, the United States military has begun strikes against Al-Qaeda terrorist training camps and military installations of the Taliban regime in Afghanistan.
I can confirm that UK forces are engaged in this action.
It was 9/11. Just weeks after September the 11th, the US invaded Afghanistan, where Al-Qaeda planned the attack. US forces targeted Al-Qaeda bases, and Osama bin Laden, supported and harbored by Taliban, who controlled the government at that time. US successfully crippled the Taliban and gained back control of major cities from Taliban, including Kabul and Kandahar, and that's how the war started. But in 2003, the focus shifted to US invasion of Iraq. Most of the funding and military was determined in Iraq, and Afghanistan became a second priority. Taliban saw it as a golden opportunity, and they didn't fail to seize it. Eventually, they started gaining control of their lost territories. However, the United States managed to find and kill Osama bin Laden.
The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat Al-Qaeda.
But they failed in Afghanistan in rebuilding it. President Donald Trump recently confirmed they will not indulge in more action with Taliban and find a solution to end the conflict. 17 years of war, the longest in the US history, has not yet been concluded. However, the peace talks between US and Taliban are underway.
In Afghanistan, my administration is holding constructive talks with a number of Afghan groups, including the Taliban. As we make progress in these negotiations, we will be able to reduce our troops' presence and focus on counter-terrorism, and we will indeed focus on counter-terrorism.
With the upcoming elections in Afghanistan, the world sees it as a positive step towards peace.
Noble cause of bringing peace to the country.
However, will Taliban accept the government? This question remains.
We do not know whether we'll achieve an agreement, but we do know that after 2 decades of war, the hour has come to at least try for peace, and the other side would like to do the same thing. It's time.
And at the moment, it's too complicated to determine who is winning the war, but the one who's losing the most is Afghan people.
Yes, the victims are the people. Welcome back to another edition of Mystery and Politics. We have today in the studio Yaser Yargal, who is a former army officer from Afghanistan. Welcome to the show, Mr. Yaser.
Thanks for having me.
So, who is to be blamed for Afghanistan war? That's my first question.
For the war in Afghanistan, first of all, I will blame my nation. It's because of their lack of education. They do not have a stable life, and they were not able to stabilize their country because of their lack of education and other opportunities that other countries, nations have it.
Okay, so you are saying Afghanistan people are to be held responsible for this situation in Afghanistan?
Yes, because they are responsible.
Why? Why do you say that?
Because I will say everybody or every nation is responsible for their country to stabilize it, to make a decision, and to bring some good opportunities for their people.
But lack of education, lack of resources, that's not their choice. They want to have education.
Yes.
They want to have resources. But the question is, they are being deprived, they are not getting it, and they're not getting it because of the situation that is inside Afghanistan.
Yes, it's you're right. They have to have it, but the leaders, the governments, they comes out from the people, and it's democracy. It's not like a one family to lead all the people, but they comes from the people. They have to choose the right one, and the leaders have to feel the responsibility for their people. So if we say leaders are responsible for the war, in the same time they are the nation of the country.
But the question is, who is to blame in this war? Several thousand people are being killed every year. In just 2017, there were 5,379 injuries. And in that same year, 2,640 war-related civilian deaths happened. Who is to blame? These are Human Rights Watch documents and reports. Who is to blame? They say Afghanistan government is responsible. They say Taliban is responsible. They say US is responsible. But we have never been able to find out a question, like answer to this question. Who is exactly to be blamed for this tragedy?
So, for blaming others, we can't solve the problem to blame without our nation, to blame someone else, because we have the most responsibility for our people. So first of all, we have to think about our future, the country, the people of the country they are living in, and also the politics, the leaders, they have to lead the nation to which way to take to stable the country and bring the peace. But instead doing that to stable their country, our leaders, not all of them, some of them, they are just looking for their benefits, not the benefits of nation. They are looking for their own benefits. So therefore, we have to blame our own nation why they're voting for those.
So you are saying Afghanistan government is to be blamed for this?
Yes, that's true.
So Afghanistan, you are saying a strong comment, making a strong comment that Afghanistan government is entirely responsible for this tragedy that is happening inside Afghanistan.
Yes, so after...
Why do you say that? Like, why? Who are the people in that government that you think are the people responsible?
Let's tell you the reasons. After 2001, we are talking about after 2001. We're forgetting about before 2001 what was going on before. But when we got opportunity to bring some countries to join us to reconstruct our country and to join with us to help us.
Right.
So we have to take these opportunities in positive way. But we had some leaders and some government responsible people, they use these opportunities into the wrong way. Like they took their own benefits.
Do you have any statistics, any facts that says that this because of these facts and these statistics and these reports, Afghanistan government is responsible? Do you have any sort of data that you can use to prove your point?
Yes, I do have our data. We got like millions and millions of dollars from United Nations and from United States, from other countries. They
Right.
support our army, they support our
Right.
forces and other infrastructures.
Right.
But the people who are leading these facilities and these opportunities, they lead it to the wrong way. They just give the bonus or the rewards to those who were just in power, but they just took these benefits to their own pocket.
What you're saying is Afghanistani government's corruption is responsible for tragedy in Afghanistan. So are you saying that people in the government in Afghanistan, they love money more than their own people?
Yes, so let me tell you like the reasons. We had a good team last few years, like 3 years before. We had a very good team with the Ashraf Ghani government.
Right.
They start very good and they moved forward.
But we're talking about 2003 right now, when US was helping and leading other nations to build Afghanistan.
Yes, I'm just proving from this point to 2017.
Right.
I will go back from 2018
Right.
back to 2019 to back to 2001.
Right.
So like we don't have a team system, you know. Like if you're building a house, you need different kind of groups
Right.
to build it. Like you need electrician, you need a structure designer, and so on. And the same time, you need for government a team to build it. Like when you trust someone to bring it to.
So what role did US play in this war? What role why US is so important in this war for Afghanistan?
So US the leading element in Afghanistan war, and they attack the country and they have to solve the problem. They are not supposed to solve the problem, but they have to be part of the solution.
But right now situation is that United States, since the beginning of this war in 2001, when they started looking for Osama bin Laden inside Afghanistan, and they bombarded a lot of establishments of Al-Qaeda, US has been the main player in this. Like Afghanistan is a back player, and it has been said that United States is the main player. He is the one running this war.
Yeah, but there are like responsibilities not going to one point. So we are not blaming United States. We are not blaming another country. They're supporting our government. In the same time, I'm gonna say we are very responsible. Our nation is very responsible for our future. If they talk about peace, they talk about everything. If Taliban come to the peace table with government, and then they agree with everything, there will be war. I'm pretty sure there will be war, because Hizb Islami was one of the militant group.
Right, you're saying there will be war for coming years.
Yes.
But so how do we see the current elections that are going to happen in 2019? What do you think is what benefit these elections will have? Will Taliban accept this government, the new government that is going to come?
Taliban, I cannot say about Taliban that they will accept or not. If they become part of peace and they join to the election, yes, they will accept it. Otherwise, they will not accept, because they are not accepting anything like to be without their.
But for the
their
first
partner.
time, now, Taliban has agreed to do peace talks. Right? There have been peace talks in Qatar. There have been peace talks in Sweden, but there have been no conclusion to those peace talks. Why do you think there is still retaliation from both sides, and why they are not reaching a conclusion?
Okay, so peace talk. You are talking about peace talk. So the conflict is not. It's all about talking about business or money or like spending something in
Right.
somewhere. So for peace talk, all countries like they are working in the peace in Afghanistan, or they are part of the war in Afghanistan. They are trying to bring the peace because they're spending their money. They're just trying to stop wasting their budget, or they don't want to spend anymore. Therefore, the United States are trying to make a reason to get out of the war, and Russia is trying, or other countries are trying to just keep United States in the war. So there are a conflict, and United States now trying to bring back Taliban when they just avoid, or they just keep away from themselves in 2001.
So
but now they are trying to.
You are saying
get it back.
Afghanistan is another proxy war, and Afghanistan is another proxy war like Syria and Yemen?
Yes. Russia, Pakistan, Iran, China, they don't want Afghanistan strong. Or maybe China, I will be wrong about it because I don't have a good information about that. But Russia, Iran, and China, Russia have a good a reason for not a good Afghanistan. They don't want United States in Afghanistan.
Why do you say that?
Because I know the situation. I have been there.
We cannot work on perspectives in such a situation, such a tragedy. We have to work with facts. We need to know, but the people need to know like why the situation has got worse, and why Russia has a part to play, why China has a part to play, why Pakistan has a part to play. Where this data is that you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm not a officer. Like I do not have a data office, or I'm not an intelligence office to talk about data or to say I have that data. But yes, I have seen a lot of foreigners, like different countries, things that they're proving that these things coming from another countries. We have been in a war, in a battlefield. We have seen the shields or the gunfires are coming from where, and where they're trying to get to our, like they are trying to interfere in our battlefield. I have seen a lot of like proof of that.
So so what is the perspective of this war? What's the future of this war? What's next in this war?
Afghanistan is going to the right direction. I'm pretty sure it's going to the right direction, but we cannot say it will be peaceful. It will be like Canada or United States or British or somewhere else. We cannot compare it. It will long time to take state to become a stable country, but yes, it will be complex and small armed group everywhere, but it's going to the right direction right now.
So you are saying it is going to continue? The war is going to continue, but the steps are right.
Yes, yeah, the steps are right, and the economy is going very well. Like new president have a good procedure for the economy growth.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Mr. Yaser.
Thanks for giving me a time. Thank you.